la había pedido para hablar los 15 minutos que tenía para hablar en 10. Entonces, bueno, voy a ser rápido. Voy a hacer esto en inglés, pero si quieren hacer preguntas en español después no hay problema. O portugués también, tranquilo, mejor. So, no, está bien, gracias. So, Abramus is the biggest market in Brazil is the biggest market in Latin America today. And the market is very different from the rest of Latin America. So we are the only country in Latin America who's speaking Portuguese. And the kind of music we have in Brazil is completely different from the rest of Latin America as well. So it's most of the publishers and the music business people think, well, it's all the same. No, it's not all the same. It's completely different. The music we have in Brazil does not play as it should in Latin America, in the rest of Latin America, and the Spanish-spoken music we have in Latin America does not perform well in Brazil. So it's important to think it different. So the most important type of music played in Brazil is Brazilian music, and then let's say Anglo-American music spoken in English. So Brazil, it's very unique the way we are organized. Today we have seven CMOs. At a point in history we had 11. And we have ECAD, which is the Central Office for Collection and Distribution of Rights in Brazil. So the societies in Brazil, they work pretty much as a bank. So all the banks have the same tariff nowadays, and the difference pretty much who's going to handling your money and the relationship you have with that manager of your account, and the service the banks can provide. So it's pretty much more on a service level societies work today than pretty much on a tariff. Tariffs are pretty much the same. So ECAD is working for many years, for 45 years now. And I have some data from ECAD here so you can understand a little bit more about the size of what we are talking here. So ECAD has 20 offices all over Brazil. Brazil is a continental country, so pretty big. We have 37 law firms helping us working all over Brazil. We collect performance in 4,000 cities every day in activities. We have, among those 20 offices we have in Brazil, we have more 17 agencies collecting royalties all over Brazil. And ECAD has 450 employees all over Brazil. So among the societies, this is just a structure to collect and distribute the rights. So how it works. ECAD has a relationship with the users of music, and the societies has a relation with the creators. So we receive the data from the DSPs, from the publishers, from the record companies, from the authors, and we ingest the data and put that information on the ECAD database. So ECAD process the data they receive from the users of music, and they make the distribution to us. So according to what's been collected in Brazil in terms of royalties, this is performing rights only, okay? 11% what we collect in Brazil came from radio, 4% from shows and live events. Well, this is considering last year, 2021, where, I mean, shows were not happening at all. So normally shows will be around 20% of the total we collect in Brazil. So it's normally a much better number. So 20% come from general users, we say supermarket, other sources. 23% from digital service, 41% from broadcasting. And here includes not only open TV, but cable channels as well. So how we distribute the royalties. So 85% goes to the right holders, 10% keeps to ECAD as their administration costs, and 5% to the societies, to the CMOs. So in 2021, the total amount that's been distributed was 900 million reais, which is with the currency today, I'll say it's about 160, 170 million US dollars. Okay, and we paid the 267,000 right holders in Brazil, here including non-featuring artists, performers, record companies, music publishings, and authors. So this is the flow of the distribution of royalties in Brazil over the past years. So we handled it pretty well during the pandemic. We make some adjustments internally in order to, we have some specific types of music like Carnival. It's just, we have some music composers of Carnival, they only receive during Carnival. So we make some adjustments on the distributions to give them advances of distributions. So they will not be without any money during this COVID-19 period. So distribution is still flowing. We hope to increase this over the next years as well. COVID's over pretty much in Brazil, unless the number of cases are still increasing, the numbers of shows are increasing in the same way. So there's been a lot of performance in Brazil, live shows, live events. So the market's pretty much going back to normal in Brazil, as per se. And let's see how it goes over the next year. The expectations are very good for the coming months. So this is the total of what's been distributed to right hold, the number of right holders that have been receiving royalties in Brazil over the past years for performing rights. So I think 2019 we had this is higher than the other years because I think there was some kind of agreement between ECAD and YouTube. So there was some bad claims distribution here, and this digital is a lot of lines of distribution, very little money from some platforms, but it's a lot of right holders involved. So this is why it's that big. So we have, as I was saying before, we have one of the most important databases in Brazil, in Latam. We had 2.3 trillion of plays on streaming being distributed in 2021. 16 million works we have in the database of ECAD, 30 million tracks, and 30 million ISRCs documented in the database, which is big, and 300,000 cue sheets in the database. Most of those cue sheets have an ISRC allocated to it and have an ISWC, so the database is pretty much, it's very integrated. So the market in Brazil, even if we start the operation back in 2010, December 2010, the market was very slow in Brazil to grow and to really enter into the digital age as we are today. Just let me check. I already say the collection here stuff. So let's go to this slide. So the market only grew in Brazil on the digital side back in 2017, when we had some big changes in the market where smartphones got cheaper, data plan got cheaper, and it allowed a lot of people to enter, to start consuming music on the digital side. So it was a combination of variables, situations that allowed the market to really enter into the digital side. And today, I must say that Brazil is fully integrated to what's happening in other countries in the world. It's all the DSPs, digital platforms, want to be in Brazil. Most of the times, they are launching products in Brazil. Brazil is one of the most important countries for YouTube all over the world. I was in a YouTube event in 2019, and at least half of the population of Brazil consumes YouTube at least once a day. So it's huge for all kinds of content. During the pandemic, a lot of Brazilian artists were performing live events on YouTube. And from the biggest live events we have on YouTube, the 10 biggest events, I think 8 or 7 are from Brazil. So Brazil today it's fully integrated to this market, to the digital market, and is growing a lot. And exponentially, since 2017, we've been doubling very much. So about Abramus Digital, we started operation back in 2011. Today we have 8 people working on my team. In 2016, we opened the operation for local publishers. 2019, we expand the operation to international territories. We signed with Latin Autor and with other hubs outside Brazil. 2020, we launch a new service, a new system to operate, and we are also operating with BI technology, which is a data analysis platform, so we can generate reports and give more transparency to the publishers who are working with us. 2022, we started receiving royalties from outside Brazil, which is pretty interesting, from Europe and from the United States. We represent today more than 350 publishers and societies including, and we have more than 7 million works documented in the database. For do this data exchange in Brazil, we use Back Office, which is a company from Argentina, and the same company that Capasa is using, so they are helping us since the beginning. And the biggest clients we have internationally are Cobalt, BMG, Downtown, and we also represent some independent art, the most relevant independent publishers in Brazil. And there are a number of publishers getting on every day. So what's the splits of rights in Brazil nowadays? So the DSPs, this is an average. So the DSPs they keep normally 30%. Neighboring rights, they keep with 58%. And the author's rights keeps 12%. So we were discussing early how much should be the splits between neighboring rights and author's rights. I think we are going to be increasing the author's rights shortly until the end of this year to 15%. There have been some decisions in the United States in order to increase this author's rights share. So this is something that's going to happen. We're already having some deals under negotiation with a higher share than 12%. So let's see how it goes. So regarding Latin America, Brazil is excluded from Latin America, from Latam, from Latin Autor, sorry, which is the hub that's been created to organize, to center. It's like what we have at Abramus, but it's a hub for Latin America. So the DSPs are licensing just through one hub for digital in Latin America. This hub contains publishers and societies who are licensing together. They are organized there and launching this model. It's a very similar model to what we have in Europe with Mint, ICE, and other hubs. And everybody's working together. So Latin Autor is pretty much licensing all the major DSPs that are operating in Latin America. It's working pretty well over the past years. The base of Latin Autor is in Argentina. So SEDD, which is the Argentinian society, is deeply involved since the creation of Latin Autor. And it's working well. But again, the music from Brazil, the Portuguese music, it's not very well played in those Spanish countries, and the opposite is the same. So Mexico is a different kind of market there. They are organized with the MaxSacmen, which is a hub they create in Mexico to combine the power of the society and the power of the publisher. So they are working together in a single board to license in the territory. So they have one common license, and it's working very well. It's a very good example of societies working with publishers in a territory that is growing and licensed very well. And it's working pretty well in Mexico. So this is probably, you won't be able to read it very well, but it's not that bad at all. So I got this this figure from the internet, so I'm not sure if it's right or actualized, so sorry about this. But this at least gives us an idea about how much is the cost of Spotify in Europe and the variations between each country. So in some territories it's very cheap, in others very high. And we can understand about how much we can get from these wider remuneration to some of the creators very low. And it gets even worse if we go to Latin America. And not only to Latin America, but North America as well, comparing the price of a subscription in Brazil and in the US. So there's a huge difference on these numbers. So it's a very complicated figure. You can see Argentina is one of the lowest prices. They go into a very complicated crisis. Haiti the same, and Brazil the same. So this is just to give an idea why the remuneration is very low. And even if you compare to the prices in Europe, it's even lower. So this is in Portuguese. I kept this in Portuguese because it's a very interesting information. And the number of subscribers of VOD service in Brazil are now bigger than the number of paying subscribers of cable TV in Brazil. So this is a market we need to follow up as well. Everyone that's linked to the music industry should be aware of this, because VOD platforms are the new challenging for CMOs and for the industry, because it's growing very quick. And we need to follow up very much those platforms, because they're going to be a very important source of revenue for societies and for creators in the coming months as well. So this is something that happened in the US a few years ago, and in August 2020 we had the figure that it happened in Brazil. I mean, this was in the beginning of the pandemic of COVID-19, so it was a change, and I can say that it keeps growing in Brazil. So this was it. My contacts are there. Thank you. If you need, I'll be around today and tomorrow as well. So.